So for the second session of the Digital Marketing Capstone Hangout, we had about 113. Let me see the correct number. We had about 112 participants in the second iteration, which finished on April 25th. And of that, we picked out the top 15 submissions based on the overall grade across all the modules of the capstone, so not just your final submission. And we sent those projects. We emailed you. So Paulina is helping us with the course. She's also online, and she communicated with you, and then we sent your projects for review to Bosch. So based on that review, they have selected top 5 participants today to recognize as exceptional submissions, and they will Sonesh and Reshma will give an overview of what this what their thoughts are on the projects that you've submitted, not perhaps individually, but a discussion of what they felt they were looking for as a client and how some of the submissions have delivered on those guidelines. And as far as recognizing the top 5 submissions, Bosch has provided some hot and cold coffee tumblers, and the University of Illinois will also be sending some t-shirts along with that to the top 5 learners as a recognition of their work. So we have Gloria, who's joined us. Gloria. Oh, there you have. Hey, Gloria. So we have Sonesh and Reshma online with us. Thank you for taking the time, Sonesh and Reshma. I've just we had the learners on, so I've given an overview of what we are doing in the session. And I also invited the top 5 learners that you identified, and of them, Gloria has signed in already. So over to Sonesh and Reshma. Perhaps first you could just give us an overview of what this what the experience has been like, and what you as a client expected out of this project, and perhaps now that you've seen some of the submissions, what do you feel the learners overall are bringing to the table for you?
I think everyone did a really good job. We read through most of the submissions that Michelle, you sent us, and I really like how they use kind of the in classroom what they're learning and really applying it to a real world situation. I think that's really important. I know that's for me that was the best way to learn, and taking that and really focusing on what the issues were, kind of digging in deep to Granger and Bosch. I know we on both sides gave you minimal information, but really to see what you guys were able to do with it, as well as the recommendations that were made, as well as the testing and the planning. I think it all came together really, really well. And that's from a client standpoint, that's really what we wanted to see, and we're looking forward to the next round.
Right. And I always like to say that while there's a lot of tools in digital marketing, really great digital marketers are also very good marketers, right? They're very creative. They have an ability to understand what their audience looks like very clearly, and maybe digital gives them better tools. But being great at digital marketing is really just not just being good at the toolkit, but being good at marketing itself. So I think we found some submissions that were also just very creative.
So in terms of your relationship with Granger and this campaign, so could you give us some update on where this is going, and if how this particular problem that we posed to the learners is sort of relevant to what you're doing in in your day-to-day work? So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. I can just say that we continue to evolve with Granger from a partnership perspective in terms of trying new approaches to really kind of make this goal live. I think one of the beauties of having a good partnership in both sides is the ability to continuously test, get data back, talk about it as a group, and then come up with new ways of executing. And so, we tried very hard now. We just had a call with them, I think, last week to really talk through kind of some newer strategies, what we want to try next. And it's fun, right? It's really fun to get the juices flowing amongst everyone and think through new approaches. So I think the partnership will continue to evolve. I think we'll continue to have success with it as well.
Nice. Okay. Perhaps let's have, I know only Gloria is online from among the 5 we have submitted, and I'll share the names later. But Gloria, why don't you introduce yourself and share your experience with the capstone, the last capstone that you did.
Hi everyone, my name is Gloria and I came from Italy, and I am a graduate student from University of Bergamo, and I want to attend this specialization because I have always find an interesting subject, the marketing, the online marketing. Indeed, my final thesis is about the mobile commerce and how you can increase sales with the mobile commerce, with mobile devices in Italian e-commerce that sells garden furniture. So I decided to this capstone because it's really interesting how you can apply the theory to the real case study, and this was very challenging, but at the same time I learned a lot, and I think that I do all my best in this doing this work.
Thank you, Gloria. We're glad you enjoyed the capstone. I know this was set up as pretty challenging, as Reshma shared, since the client can't share all the information they have about a real project that they are doing. So we did have to work with some limited information, but I think particularly in the first version, we had more challenges because we didn't, that was even before Granger and Bosch had worked out the scope of their relationship. So that was, and then we were able to share some more data. So actually the second version that you all were part of actually had more data than the first version. So I would say the people who did it first had a tougher time than you as well. And of course, we are looking forward to offering this, the third time, which will start in June 6th as well. I wanted to quickly share the names of the top 15 picks based on just the overall grade in the entire capstone. So I have their names listed out. Our list of top 15 out of the 112. 112 people who participated in the second capstone version, and of this, Reshma and Sonesh have reviewed the submissions and picked out the top 5. So the top 5 listing is here. It should show up now. So that's we have Gloria, who's joined us, and Mark, Rhonda, Ray, and Althea. So congratulations to all 5 of you for being selected as the top 5 submissions. I'll give it over to Reshma. Let me to talk about these particular submissions. The top 5 that you selected overall. What were some of the criteria you were looking at while selecting these top 5?
Looking at the overall submission, I know what was very, very similar across the board for the 15 submissions was a lot of the research and the strategy, and again, I could tell from the in-classroom work and the theories and everything that was applied to the recommendations, that was pretty similar, and so that was nice to see kind of across the board that the understanding was there. As well as my favorite part, I would say, is the channel strategy part of the submissions, because I like to see how everyone thinks a little bit differently in terms of there's email, there's mobile, there's display. There's so many other ideas within that realm, and then based on that, the recommendations were made in the test plan. So I would say the way that we chose the top 5 was really just the overall, like a clear plan of, of action based on what the recommendations were. And I thought that they tied really, really well together, and they were really well thought out. So, again, congratulations to the top 15 and congratulations to the top 5. We were very impressed.
Great. So thank you for that input. I think in the second iteration of the capstone, we were able to tweak the rubrics for evaluation, where we placed a clear emphasis on that the plan you submit should be actionable by the client. I think, and that shows in some of the submissions where there are clear action points that the client can take without having to figure out based on there. So it wasn't just analysis; it was an action plan as well. So I think that was good to see in the submissions.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to share. I mean, before we got both of you on this particular on the Hangout, I was already announcing to the viewers that you've kindly provided some hot and cold tumblers as giveaways, and we are adding a University of Illinois T-shirt to the mix, and then we'll send that out to the top 5 participants in this cohort of the Digital Marketing Capstone. So I was hoping to have some more of the top 5 online, but I just sort of sent them an invite right before the capstone started, so perhaps they didn't have time to get online today. So we'll communicate to them over email, and we look forward to continuing the work with Bosch and Granger for the next iteration that starts on 6th June.